welcome your host, Alan Titchmarsh.
Thank you. Very much. Oh, I do like a wolf whistle to start the day. Hello, welcome to Wednesday's AT show. How are you doing? Marvellous. Well, you're in for a real treat today, so cancel all your plans, stay put for the next hour. First up, he dominated our screens in the 80s as Robin of Sherwood, catapulting him to heartthrob status. He's here today, minus bow and arrow. Please welcome Michael Praed.
Good to see you.
Thank you. And it's Wednesday, which means our medical team are here. What's on the agenda today, Anita?
Well, today Lucy and I are getting our teeth into dental health. We're talking about how to keep your teeth healthy and also showing you how clues in your mouth can give us clues about signs of underlying health problems.
So it's not just your mouth your teeth affect, it's your entire body.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Also today, extreme nail art, including these incredible fantasy nails and amazing garden sculptures. Look at those. And I'll be having a go at creating my own horticultural manicure a little bit later. Plus, it's harsh, but fair one in today's Ding Dong. Should you spend your children's inheritance? Yes! I heard one child shout very loudly, no! That very subject will be debated later. But first, she was the Basildon princess who helped make breakfast TV cool again in the 90s. Went from ladette to lady in Chicago and became belle of the ball on Strictly Come Dancing. Now, she's touring the country in her own one-woman play, reaffirming her position as a leading lady. Please welcome Denise Van Outen. Goodness me, now this looks incredibly, well, not punishing, but nerve-wracking. You're on a stage there on your own. That's it. Nobody else to come on and give you a bit of light relief.
Completely on my own. Yeah, it's quite daunting, and I do get nervous every night. But once I get into it, after the first couple of minutes, because the audience are kind of involved in it with me, because I break the fourth wall and I speak to them in this kind of Shirley Valentine style, I get such a nice warm response because it's funny as soon as it starts that I don't really feel like I'm on my own. I feel like they're my friends and they're part of the journey with me.
But you're not only doing it, I mean, you put the whole thing together, you wrote it. So,
I had the idea in my head about 2 years ago and my dear friend Terry Ronald helped me write it. We did it together and we just developed it. And that's scary because when I first stepped out in front of an audience, I had the added pressure of, will people like it? You know, there's some really funny moments in it, laugh out loud funny moments, but will people find it funny? All the pressure that you probably
Will they laugh in the right places and cry in the right places?
Yeah, and fortunately, they do.
Did it work from the word go, or do you tweak and adjust and now you're sorted? I mean, did you have a few tweaks? Or?
We did have a few tweaks, Alan. Yeah, we did. We tried it out in Leicester before Christmas. I did 3 performances, and there were just slight things that needed changing. Yeah. Because it's very difficult when you're so close to a project. You know, we could understand the story fully, but we wanted to get the feedback from the audience during that tryout, just to see if there was any little bits of detail we missed.
So the general premise of the piece is what? We see, you know, sitting on a bed and getting up and having a sing. So what's it all about, Alfie?
OK, well, it's a play with music, and I loved the movie Shirley Valentine when I was growing up, and I loved how it reached out to a female audience, and it was all about relationship and being the housewife. And obviously, Shirley, it's very different to women of my generation now. I mean, at that time, women were very much sort of stay-at-home housewives. With my character that I wanted to create, I wanted her to be a businesswoman and someone who's really made her career the main focus and perhaps put everything else a little bit on the back burner in her life, like her relationship. And she's on a business trip. It's all set in a hotel room, so the set doesn't change. And as soon as she comes in, my character, Stephanie Canwell, speaks to the audience. She's very successful in business. She's got a lingerie label. And she starts talking to the audience about her marriage. That there's a few little moments in her marriage that have been a bit tricky. Mainly the reason being that her husband, Paul, wants her to slow down with her work.
It's the other side of the Shirley Valentine coin,
switched
isn't it, really?
Switched it. But I wanted to tackle the idea of, can a woman have everything? Because it's something that I'm often asked, you know, and people say...
What's the answer?
Well, the thing is, it comes at a price, and I think that's what develops throughout the play. And this character, when she first comes out, you're not necessarily feeling sorry for her in any way, because you sort of think, well, you've made that choice. But as the story evolves, and what actually happens is, when she's in the hotel room, she gets a message on Facebook from her first love, who gets in touch, and it gets her thinking about her past, and basically how she's become the woman she is.
How autobiographical is this? Because it sounds to me there's a lot of sort of successful woman with, you know, Betsy, you've got a daughter, you were married, now you're not. So how much of this is autobiographical to Denise Van Outen?
The character's fictional. The stories, it's not just me, it's every woman, because I've spoken to all my friends of my sort of age group and a little bit older and younger, and it seems to be a common thing with women now, with younger women, that they do tend to be very career-focused. And so, for me, it's a story that is every woman. And actually, I'm not on Facebook, so I've never had that situation happen to me with a past love, but it did happen to a friend of mine, which is where I got the idea from. And so the whole play is about temptation. It's whether or not she goes through with meeting up with this ex-love in the hotel room. So it's a bit of a... keeps you on the edge of your seat a little bit.
Michael, have you ever done a one-manner? Have you ever been on stage totally on your own?
No, I haven't.
Does the prospect scare you?
I think it would terrify me, actually. Yeah.
But you manage and you're getting on there. Because from all that huge support of the other things you've done.
Yeah, but also the nice thing is with this is because we've got music in it. So when my character's speaking to the audience, she starts reminiscing about her growing up in the 80s and the 90s. So I've got some fantastic songs in there that we've changed slightly. You know, we've got, like, Culture Club's Do You Really Want to Hurt Me, which is a great song. But when you strip it down and you just have it with strings, the lyrics mean so much.
More,
yeah, so there's great music. It's funny, it makes you laugh, it makes you cry.
On a practical note, how the dickens do you remember? Do you ever get to a point and think, crumbs, where do I go now?
With words?
Yes, with words. During the actual...
words?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I know it so well that that hasn't yet happened, thank God. But it's... yeah, I think I could probably get myself out of it. I'm guessing maybe from doing presenting and having experience like you of speaking to an audience.
And they don't know what the script is, so you can kind of add
exactly. You can kind of just... But you try not to, because there are lighting cues, sound cues that are triggered from, you know, my dialogue.
Now, as if this weren't enough, you're planning something else with a couple of mates, I gather, with Kimberly Walsh and Cara Toynton. What's all this about? The Strictly Birds, as it were.
Yeah, have we got any Strictly fans in?
Have we?
Well, we all love doing Strictly Come Dancing, and we've become really close friends. Kimberly Walsh was in the final with me, and the previous year, Cara Toynton, she won Strictly. So we all sat down together and we were like, we missed the dancing, because it's such a nice feeling for any of you who've ever danced, partner dancing, ballroom or Latin. It's lovely. And we miss it. And we were like, what can we do? Because we've got itchy feet. And so we've decided to dust off our dancing shoes, and we're going to put together a big show, a spectacular show with singing and dancing, because the three of us sing as well. So we're going to take it to theatres. And...
You were all three really born to be in musicals, weren't you? That's the truth of the matter.
Yeah, well, we are. The three of us have all been leading ladies in the West End, so we just thought, well, why not put this together? And because we're such great mates. And for me, it'd be great, because I haven't been on the road on my own doing a one-woman play. It'd be nice to go back to my hotel room with my two friends.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. You're touring this, and that means you're not only on stage on your own, but you've not got a great gang of mates around you.
I know, I hadn't thought that part out when I go back to the hotel room. But, you know, it's been actually nice as much as I read, and then, obviously, sometimes on my tour, my daughter comes with me, Betsy, and she keeps me busy,
Yeah.
so...
How old is she now?
She's coming up to 4 in May.
Yeah,
she's so bossy.
Is she?
Don't know where she gets it from, Alan.
I can't for a moment imagine some girl I used to know, currently touring the UK, you'll spot it somewhere near you, go and see it. My thanks for now to Denise Van Outen.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Denise will be staying with me, because after the break, nails might mean big business in Essex, but did you know there's much more to it than a quick file and polish? We'll be meeting some very talented artists who've taken nail art to extremes, plus the man who made dingy green robes sexy. 80s heartthrob Michael Praed's here. See you in a mo. Welcome back. Still to come, taking time out from his latest farce, actor Michael Praed's here. Can't say that to many people and not get smacked. Plus, are you one of the thousands who've put off that cruise in the Med because you're thinking of your children's inheritance? Or are you all about spending it while you can and not handing it to them on a plate? Well, that's the subject we'll be debating in today's Ding Dong. But first, many a lady will agree that they always feel better when their nails look good. But nail painting has evolved over the years from the elegant French manicure to huge sculptures and works of art. Here to tell us more and give us an insight into the extreme world of nail art, please welcome nail artists Kirsty Meakin, Alice Bartlett and Zoltan Tothpalos. Welcome, Zoltan. Nice to see you. Now, I've got you here, Denise, because you're an expert on nails, always very nicely done. So, Zoltan, fantasy nails, what are they? What are they? There's a handful of them. Heavens above. Where did the idea come from?
The idea is from my head and from the fantasy world, which is endless.
Endless fantasy. We've got, just talk us through it, is that, we've got a frog on the end of that one there?
Frog,
Yeah.
Goldfish, we've got fairies there.
There's two, oh, there's a ring
And
there with two
swans.
swans on.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful
not very
goldfish.
practical, though, are they? Like, for washing up and,
No,
you
but
know, doing the hoovering.
Can you do 40 words a minute with that on there?
Well, it's built for the show, but definitely it's a piece of art.
So when you go out with these at night, do you, Zoltan, you're sort of holding your hands like that? You can't really do anything with them
no,
on.
they are mainly designed for competitions or
Oh,
magazine works,
Yeah.
maybe in the fashion world, fashion shows.
And you keep them all separately, so then you make them and then glue them on? They're
Well,
stuck on.
no, they are all made on the nails. They are just
Oh.
samples from the salon or
I see.
from the place where I work.
But they are astonishingly detailed. There's a box full of...
Yeah.
Would you wear anything like this, Denise? They're gorgeous.
Do you know what? Some of them are really pretty. They're very, very long. That's the only
Yes.
thing. How long would they last if you have them on? Is it just...
Well, they will last till your next infill because the nails are growing out together with the natural nails. You
Oh,
need to
right.
keep infill them to keep it
Yeah.
on for longer.
But it is
But
astonishing.
you wouldn't be able to do any housework, could
No,
you?
you wouldn't. Not very good for gardening, are they?
Funny enough, my client who has the longest nail, she's a cleaner. So
She's a
Oh, really?
yeah, and she managed to do the work.
Yeah.
with
She
the
does it all
nails.
with one hand and holds the other one up in the air while she's busy dusting. Lush,
She gets
incredible.
the brush for the dustpan and goes like that into the nail.
Yeah, that becomes a dustpan. Well, next to a woman whose nails are good enough to eat, Kirsty Meakin. Let's go out and meet Kirsty. Kirsty, hello. Oh, when I said good enough to eat, now look at these. So we've got sweet... Is it always food, Kirsty? Sweet corn? we have
No,
here?
it's not always food. I try to do things that's out of the ordinary that normal people don't do.
Normal people.
Wow, look.
Look
Amazing.
at that. So you've got large, real diamonds on there, of course.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
They are a girl's best friend there. So this must take some considerable time to do this, doesn't it?
It does take a long time, but it's just stretching your skills to the limit. Some of the work that I've basically done takes up to 100 hours. I had a piece commissioned for the Victoria and Albert Museum, and that took over 100 hours to make. But
How wonderful. You wouldn't think that a fingernail would be in the Victoria and Albert Museum, would
you
you? It's a
wouldn't.
wonderful thing to
Can't
do.
you just
The
get,
nails
like,
recognised as
real
art.
corn on the cobs and just stick them on the end?
Oh, but hang on. We've got,
same
we've got
time.
bespoke ones here. Look at this hand here. There's ITV, Michael Praed, Denise Van Houten, yours truly, and the Alan Titchmarsh show.
wow.
Look at that. They are. So, thank you for doing this.
do you
Kirsty.
recognise that
Yes,
pose,
Denise.
that picture,
Yeah.
Denise?
No, when was that
That's
taken?
your Strictly
Oh, that
picture.
is my Strictly
Yeah.
picture, yeah.
Very fitting.
Bespoke. The smell around here is enough to make your eyelashes curl. I don't know, you know, acetone to goodness knows what. But I do feel that it's time that gardeners had more than soil on their fingernails, and the woman who can make my dream come true is Alice Bartlett. Oh, now look. Can we get a close-up of this? Look at... Now, a garden on a fingernail, my goodness me, you're going to need a... Should find lens for that. There are trees growing on. There's a bicycle. A bicycle leaning up against a tree. That's astonishing, isn't it? Alice, how long have you been doing this? I don't just mean this handful. I mean, how long have you been creating things like this?
About 3 or 4 years, maybe.
Yeah. So, what made you want to do it? Have you never seen anything like this before?
No, well, what happened was I was in a model railway shop.
Yeah.
And I was looking around at all the sort of tiny people, and that was where I got the idea from. And originally I wanted to do it with sheep, actually, like just sort of, but the sheep were too big, and that, weirdly, you can get them at a smaller scale. So.
What do you use? Do you use like tweezers or something? Because they're so tiny.
Yeah, so I use tweezers to put them on, or you can just sort of, you have to be very careful, but and then a little bit of clear nail polish to
Clear nail, but what, to stick them with?
Yeah.
So you put the grass on first, then, presumably.
Yeah.
You varnish the nail and then put the grass
so
on.
you're about to do this.
Hey, did you hear that? You're about to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen how it's done by the professionals. Denise and I are going to have a go. Yes, here we go. Please welcome to the floor our very own models, Dr. Anita and dietitian Lucy Jones. You'll be great. OK, now we need instruction here.
Yeah, so what's going to happen is...
I've always longed to say this to a doctor, excuse me, this won't hurt. Or, this is going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt me.
So you want this, it's this one first.
Oh, right.
The green first.
Yeah, there's only one, so you're going to
that
have to share.
first,
And then whilst that's still wet, you sort of want to take the nail and sort of just...
Dip it.
Dip
Right,
it
OK.
in the
Which
green
thing?
grass.
Any preference?
Whatever you would like to do
let's
it
go
on.
Come on,
with this one.
Denise, you're
It's a
holding me
good
up
nail.
down here.
Sorry, Alan.
Right.
You know,
Oh, I see, so there's a sort of
properly.
background colour to it.
Yeah.
It's the base, Alan.
Yeah. Yes. As to your next question, no, I never have painted my nails.
That's the lawn.
The lawn,
Right.
okay, the base. Which fingernail would you like, Dr. Anita?
Middle finger, please,
Middle
Alan.
finger, right.
So just sort of, stick it in there.
Look at this, Alan. Look.
Oh, that's good. I see
Very
your
good.
lawn's grown an awful lot faster than mine.
And now,
Right, trim it,
with the
good.
clear nail polish, if you pick your, a person or a tree or whatever.
OK, Anita, stick it in there. Sorry, something went on your finger.
Bicycle.
Stick it in there.
What would you
that's
like?
it.
What would you like to have on your
Yeah,
nail?
that is
yeah,
lovely. A bit more?
Oh, you got a bit
Okay.
more, 'cause you- a bit more on your edge. Yeah.
Tiny.
How do you pick them up? With
Well,
your fingers?
you can use the tweezers,
biking.
and then
Tweezers,
if you take the lid off of that and just use the stick to get the glue out, it's just a bit easier than using the brush. So just leave that there.
Right, so do a little tiny blob and then...
Yeah, it's quite
I
thick.
see.
We're doing really well.
Well,
I think you're
haven't got
doing
that far
great.
yet.
Our own mobile beauty service.
I'll do it on the... Oh, look, I've dropped my tree.
Their own mobile beauty service called Titch Van. Coming to a town near you.
Now, I'm going to do my tree leaning into the wind.
Yeah, I knew you'd be good at this, Alan.
Oh, look, it's fallen over, look. Oh, it's going everywhere.
Right, there we go. We need a tree, I think. How you
that's
doing,
very
Alan?
nice.
You doing
Oh,
all right?
I'm not doing very well at all. Have you got your tree on?
I've got a tree and a bicycle.
That's a bit quick. Oh, I've got my tree on.
Put it onto the bottom
There's
of the
my
tree rather than onto
Try
a
and get
nail,
my
that's
bike
right, yeah.
leaning on it. Oh, it's my tree's falling off, this is open. You see, it shows how skilled you... How long do they last for when you do them, Ice? Thank you.
Well, it sort of depends. They're quite difficult to do things with. But the flock itself, you can wash your hands with that on, and it's just the grass, but then the trees are a bit more fragile.
Right,
Maybe if you do the designs and Denise can implement them
Look,
in the future.
Look at that over there. Don't look at mine. I can do gardens full size. I'm absolutely rubbish at doing it.
My fella's actually sitting on his bicycle.
Oh,
very
that's
nice.
a bit. Oh, they're standing up now.
There we go.
There we are.
Just don't move
I've
my
got
finger.
a bike, and I'm sorry, Anita.
That's okay,
You
it's
draw
lovely.
the short straw here.
I'll
didn't you?
keep this
Get
forever,
that.
that's fine.
Fine, OK.
Let's have a look. I can't move my
There we
finger
are.
because it'll fall
Is
over.
that- So you've got... Now, yours is really good.
I've got a bicycle and he's sitting on the bicycle by the tree.
Oh, I see.
impressive.
Which
Very
newspaper?
nice.
It's fallen over. Your bike's fallen over now. Ha, ha, ha.
All right.
My thanks to Zoltan, Kirsty, Alice, Lucy, Anita and Denise. Thank you very much indeed. Put the top on so it doesn't fall on the carpet. Now, recent surveys revealed 95% of people, 95, are not expecting to receive a big inheritance from loved ones. So, should we be spending our children's inheritance and fulfilling our dreams rather than worrying about saving for their future? Presenter Rebecca Wilcox argues that waiting for your parents to leave you something is dangerously unreliable, while Made in Chelsea star Mark Francis Vandelli believes that by giving your children more, you encourage them to go on to do greater things. I feel a rather expensive ding-dong coming on, so let battle commence. Mark, you think you should have it?
I think that having been brought up knowing that in a way I'd always be safe and looked after, I've been able to follow my dreams and do a lot more with my life.
without worrying about money. There you are.
Well, look, I actually take umbrage with the very fact that you're talking about spending your child's inheritance. Inheritance is property that comes to you after someone's died. Well, if you're alive, it's your money. It's your money to choose how you spend. And if you want to spend it on your children in your lifetime, so be it. But I think we should be talking about legacies instead. What legacy you want to leave your child. If you're a parent, as I am, I want to bring up a child that is decent and happy, and also happy to see me happy when I'm in my pension age.
Are you trying to say I won't be decent or happy in my adulthood?
Well, I think you're watching your mother spend her coffers and go, oh, shuffle off this mortal coil already. I want the money, I want the house.
Unless, of course, she's got enough to do both. If she's got enough to please herself and still to leave some to you. So aren't you in kind of a luxurious position in that in your family can both things happen?
Well, I know very little about my parents' finances, but but I hope that I'll sort of be able to keep writing my book and to think that I can sort of feed myself despite not having a sort of a full-time job.
Does it leave you with a sense of purpose, though?
Absolutely, more of a sense of purpose, because it means that I can do all of the charity work and raise hundreds of thousands of pounds every year for various charities.
Let's be reasonable. You are in a very extreme situation. Most people only have enough to get by on, and most pensioners, it's something like 45% of people have to dip into their savings just to get by, not least thinking about the second home and the yacht that they want to leave, you know, lovely Mark here, but, you know, they're trying to get by. Everybody wants to leave something to their children. Of course, you never stop being a parent.
Right.
You never stop being a parent, but it is not... Your point is you making us feel guilty that we shouldn't spend the money. And let's remember this, in retirement, the more happy you are, the longer you're likely to live. Therefore, if you're sat there counting your penalties, not only are you reducing the quality of your life, you're reducing the quantity of your life. You're actually going to die sooner because you're feeling guilty.
Oh, that is a thing.
I'm mortified by the mere thought.
What, of dying early or of feeling guilty?
Both. and I know that my parents will die feeling no guilt whatsoever, and I think that will lead them to have lead them to having a sort of far more pleasant...
No guilt because they've given it all to you.
Exactly.
My parents are feeling so much better because they've given me all their money. That's a novel thought, isn't it?
What about the 40% the tax man is going to take as well? And plus, savings accounts, you're not earning any interest, so it's sat there making paltry interest, just making you feel
well,
upset.
that's a reason for giving it to your children in many instances.
In your lifetime, surely.
Yes.
In your lifetime, why not take them on holiday with you? Why not go on that cruise around the world?
I couldn't agree more. Take them on holiday with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But why go out of your way to spend it so that they don't have a penny, so that they're left with nothing? How are they going to get onto the property ladder?
I think sleepwalking into financial ruin is what you're talking about. You should always be financially independent. I'm hoping to raise an independent child that's physically, emotionally and financially. I don't want him ever to have to rely on me, just in case, you know, something
Absolutely,
happens.
and I couldn't agree more. But the way in which one is educated, I think, is very important. And growing up, knowing that you'll be responsible in your adult life for a certain degree of money, for finances, makes you grow up a lot faster and a lot sooner.
Let's just go... Michael, is inheritance important? Should you expect an inheritance? Is it a good thing, or should your children stand totally on their own 2 feet?
Well, there's a number of factors here. I think, you know, if
You've probably only got time for one of them. But
OK. Well, I think it's your money and you can do what you want with it. You do have a moral obligation if you told your children you're going to leave them something. But you just said one, I've just given you two, so...
Yeah, it's all right. No, that's fine. So, moral obligation, if you've promised it, then that's a promise. Would that be agreed?
I say if you promised it, you promised it, but mainly spend it in their lifetime, give them a good education, make them able to stand on their own 2 feet when you're gone.
On that point, I agree.
Let's all enjoy it together. We've heard what our guests have had to say. We want to know your thoughts. You can reach us on our Facebook page or by emailing alan@itv.com. Plus, at the end of the show, we'll be asking our lovely studio audience for their votes. My thanks for now, though, to Rebecca Wilcox and Mark Francis Vandelli. Thank you both. Thank you. So to come from Sherwood Forest to the West End stage, Michael Praed reveals all on his latest role. Plus, the AT medical team will be filling us in on everything dental when they've sorted out Michael's problems. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a moment. Still to come, back to Michael Praed on swords, shoulder pads and the supernatural. Plus, I'll be testing the former Robin Hood on his bow and arrow skills in a homemade AT game. Don't miss that, though I probably will, with my bow and arrow. But first, keeping your teeth clean and healthy is vital to your dental hygiene. But did you know that oral health can offer clues about your overall health? and that problems in your mouth can affect the rest of your body as well. So what do we need to look out for, and how can we avoid long-term damage? Here with all the medical know-how, Dr. Anita, dietitian Lucy Jones, and dentist Dr. Uchenna Okoye. Anita, lovely to see you. Our overall health then is affected by our dentistry as well.
As children, we're taught to brush our teeth regularly to keep our teeth and gums healthy. We understand that, but what a lot of us don't realise is that having good dental health can actually protect us from really serious health problems like heart disease, strokes, diabetes, lung disease. There's also been links with things like poor gum disease and things like infertility and premature babies. So there's quite a strong connection.
As wide-ranging as
really
that.
wide range. There's also things that we can spot in the mouth. So as a doctor, I would look for certain things in a patient's mouth which could give me clues about underlying medical problems. You should look for things like bleeding gums, ulcers in the mouth, non-healing lesions, odd patches of change in colour in your tongue or the lining of the mouth. That can be clues for things like immune problems, vitamin, mineral deficiency, even cancer. So if you notice something is changing in your mouth, go and show a doctor or a dentist, because it could be a sign of something quite serious.
This is important as that. We all just think, oh, I'll go and get some mouthwash or something like that, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So what are the commonest things you spot?
Well, as a doctor, a lot of people come to see us if they get things like bleeding gums, because that can be a sign of a problem with the immune system. Even certain types of cancer can weaken your immune system to the point that you start to get bleeding when you brush your teeth. So there are clues that your body can give you in your mouth that can show something else is going on elsewhere.
So be aware of them, don't brush them under the carpet. Well, time to meet someone now who knows all about it. She's a dentist, Dr. Uchenna. Dr. Uchenna, people are coming to you all the time as a dentist with their problems. Surely nowadays we're better in our mouths than we used to be. I remember my father and mother both had false teeth, that generation who were in the Second World War, because my dad, I remember saying, he used to have to put his toothbrush up the back of the chimney and brush them with soot.
Yeah.
Now, I'm the generation that had fluoride in toothpaste, but I have fillings, but the generation under me don't even have fillings, so surely we're better off now than we've ever been.
We're better off from a point of view of decay, so fluoride is amazing. So many of us, the younger generations, don't actually have that many cavities compared to before. But things are different where it comes to your gums. And what you were saying about the older generation, that London Smiling, I have a lot of patients that come in that are older and they actually had their teeth extracted as a wedding present. So in those days, I don't know if any of the audience remember this.
Replace them, presumably, yeah.
But in those days, because they had so many problems with the gums, that's what your mother-in-law, father-in-law gifted you.
Yeah.
So unfortunately nowadays, more people lose their teeth due to gum disease than even tooth decay. So it's really important. You know, you said about bleeding gums. Most people don't realise it is a problem, and by the time it starts hurting, there's, a lot of damage done.
They used to sing adverts on the box that say, oh, you've got a bit of blood when you're spitting out and you're cleaning your teeth. That just means you need to use a different toothpaste.
No.
It's more than that.
No, that means you need to brush better. You need to brush more efficiently. Unlike the rest of your body, if you're bleeding, you stop whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
With your mouth, if you're bleeding, you need to brush better. I always recommend an electric toothbrush to my patients.
Yeah.
And if it continues, it means that you might have gum disease, so you need to get checked out.
A lot of cosmetic dentistry now. I mean, do you ever recommend people for cosmetic dentistry as a doctor?
It's a controversial area as a doctor, and a lot of people come and ask me my opinion, and I always say go and consult a specialist like yourself to get advice.
Yeah. So a lot of people coming for cosmetic problems.
Yes, especially nowadays. First impressions count. And, you see a lot of things on TV, reality TV, etc., and it's so much more easily accessible. So it gives people so much confidence, it makes such a difference. I've got patients that, before we sorted out their smiles, just used to talk like this.
Yes,
It's huge. But the key thing is, no matter what you do, and one of my most popular treatments is professional teeth whitening, you must have a dentist do it. So you don't need it, so if you're going to have it, stay safe.
Well, let's meet someone who at present is undergoing cosmetic dentistry, Helen Morris. Helen. Now, Uchenna, tell us about this particular sort of treatment.
Yes. Helen has lingual braces. It's one of the most exciting things for me as a cosmetic dentist.
Lingual braces?
That means you can't see it. It's on the inside. So, most adults don't particularly want to look like Ugly Betty. So nowadays, I can fix their teeth and nobody even knows it. I've got a lot of people on the red carpet with this.
From here, Helen, you've got perfect set of teeth. There's nothing wrong with it. You can't see anything. But you can feel them, obviously.
You can. I mean, when you first have them fitted, it takes a couple of weeks to get used to it.
Yeah.
But after a while, I mean, I don't even know I've got them anymore.
Right, OK, well, let's have a look at them.
Yes. So I've got
a special camera.
Great camera that's going to go into Helen's mouth. We could just get... Actually, let me do the top one so everybody can see.
Right, so...
Slight technical hitch here.
Technical hitch. Let's...
it's not working.
Is it there?
No.
Well, we can see if
You
Ellen
can see,
opens
if you open really wide...
mouth and we get a close-up on there. Let's move your hand. We can see...
way.
There we are. Sorry, Ellen. Hold your lower jaw down. We can see them there. So instead of being a brace in front of the teeth, this sits... Just sit with your head slightly down. That's perfect. They're marvellous. And now we can see... So they're behind... I'm sorry to manhandle you. They're now behind the teeth, holding them where you want to go. And you adjust these regularly, presumably, do you?
Absolutely. Initially, it's about every month because the teeth are moving really quickly.
Gosh.
But, you know, unless you get... Nobody... Well, most people won't get this up close and personal, so nobody would be able to tell.
No,
and
How long do you need to keep them on for, generally?
It varies from about 6 to 18 months. On average, most people, it's about 12 months. And I think it's made a huge difference to you, hasn't it?
Well, I'm into my 11th month now, so mine are just about to come out. But you have to think back to... Do you remember the... I mean, did you ever have braces when you were...
No, I didn't.
a teenager?
That's why I've got teeth like this. They're quite healthy, but just oddly shaped.
But they were fitted, to, obviously, to the outside of your teeth.
Yes, they were, with a big plate.
Yeah, and it really put me off having braces. When I went to the dentist, I initially went to have veneers.
And now you keep it looking lovely, and they're still...
Put them inside.
And the great thing about this is that it doesn't matter how old you are. The oldest person we fitted braces for was 86.
Well,
and she's got a toy boy, she has a great life, so there you go.
Down to the brace. Now, quick one. These busting the myths, as it were, and very fast on these, if you will, goes, does whitening weaken your teeth?
Absolutely not, as long as it's done professionally. It doesn't do any more damage than having a glass of fizzy water or soda. So
how often do you have to have it done?
Depends on your diet. If you're a smoker or drink loads of red wine, then some people kind of every 6 months, a year.
Oh, right.
For the majority of people, it's 2-3 years before they need to do it again.
Are electric toothbrushes better than manual?
Oh, absolutely. That's my desert island item. I always say it's kind of like the difference between using a washing machine and washing by hand. It's that good.
To floss or not to floss?
Definitely to floss.
Right. And should you use mouthwash, Anita?
Controversial. Lots in the papers about mouthwash and cancer, mouthwash and heart disease. My advice is you shouldn't use mouthwash as a substitute for brushing your teeth and keeping them clean. If you want to use one, use an alcohol-free one or one with natural ingredients. We do know that the alcohol ones, the strong ones, actually can cause harm in some cases, and particularly children should avoid using them as well.
No alcohol for children, even when it's in a mouthwash. Of course, you are what you eat, and so are your teeth. Here with advice on food which won't adversely affect your dental health, Lucy Jones. Lucy. So, Lucy, good stuff, bad stuff. This is especially teeth-related, these good things and bad things, though, yeah?
Absolutely. When it comes to dental health, it's actually not just what you eat, but also the way you eat. So many of us who are trying to control our weight have heard that you need to eat little and often.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the worst possible thing to do for your teeth.
Oh.
Because when you eat, the sugars that you eat are broken down by the bacteria into acid, which damages your teeth. So actually sticking to set meals and snacks is one of the perfect things you can do for your teeth. Avoid grazing, and particularly avoid acid and sweet things like fruit juice, fizzy drinks.
This is the avoid board, then, here. Sweet tea, red wine, fizzy drinks, orange juice, dried fruit.
Now, dried fruit is a bit of a surprise for many people, but it's not only contains sugar, it's also really sticky. So it sticks to your teeth, and that damage occurs then for longer.
I know,
love your nail art. Affecting...
She's taking great care with her little scene on here.
I love it.
Boiled sweets, obviously, biscuits, cake, pretzels. Tablets, though. Throat tablets and fizzy vitamin C.
Cough sweets and fizzy vitamins. Fizzy vitamins are basically just bathing your mouth in acid. So if you need to take vitamin C, B vitamin, zinc, make sure you take it in tablet form. And cough sweets, always try and get sugar-free.
Right. Milk, obviously calcium, water, good. Tea without sugar, fresh fruit, fresh veg, and you've got meat and cheese here.
Well, would you know, the best pudding you can have is a cheese board. Studies have shown that actually cheese, because of the calcium...
You see, last week when we're doing cholesterol, you'll only have any. This week we're doing my teeth, I can have it.
You can have good teeth and high cholesterol, it's your choice.
I do want to ask one thing, and that's when should you clean your teeth? Immediately you've eaten?
No, absolutely not. One of the worst things you can do. So after you've eaten, the acid will weaken the enamel of your teeth for about half an hour to an hour, so you shouldn't brush your teeth after you've eaten. Stick to brushing your teeth twice a day, morning and evening, and best thing, have something like a glass of milk or at least a glass of water to wash through any food debris after you've eaten.
After you've eaten, that's so much to remember. Balanced diet, I think, don't you? As always, our medical team are on hand to answer any of your medical worries. Email alan@itv.com or visit our Facebook page. But for now, my thanks to Dr. Uchenna Okoye, Dr. Anita, and, of course, Lucy. Thank you. Now, our next guest, smouldering good looks, won him a legion of female fans in the 1980s. Since then, he's played a prince in Dynasty, or as they like to call it, Dynasty, and a musketeer on Broadway. But who can forget the role that brought him to prominence? Robin of Locksley.
What's your name?
John Little of Hathersage.
John Little? Little John, more like.
Little John. I like that. And who may you be?
Ah! Robin of Locksley.
Please welcome Michael Praed. Were they fun days, Michael, those?
Well, truthfully, you know, when I get asked that, I always say yes, they were. But the fact of the matter is, in fact, it was really, really hard work. I mean, you get up first thing in the morning and after your coffee, what are we going to do now? OK, let's do a fight scene. And we were all on location, so we were subjected to the whims and the caprices of the weather. But it was a tremendous experience. I mean, not the least of which, because it was the first massive TV thing I did, and it was a pretty good show too.
Well, the other massive TV thing you did was what we call Dynasty, what they call Dynasty.
Yes.
As Prince Michael of Moldavia in these fabulous uniforms
yes.
that really were terribly good for your posture.
Yes.
And then you had this big massacre.
Yes.
It was a sort of equivalent of what's his face, Bobby coming back in the shower, wasn't it? Really, the massacre.
Yes, and interestingly enough, the whole cast were involved in that final scene where a bunch of terrorists came and blew the place to pieces. And it was the last episode of the season, and everyone's contracts were up. Oh. And so what they did was, the producers, it was ridiculous, really, in retrospect, but nevertheless, it happened. One by one, they brought us into they brought me into a room, and they said there are 6 different endings, or however many, like 8, and you've got to learn all of them. And in each ending, various people were getting killed. You see, so they were using this as sort of a bit of arbitration, you know.
Yes, yeah. So how much would you come back for? Much less than you were on for before? Was it that kind of thing, sort of bargaining power?
Well, it was just that some of the, you know, I mean, in the States, you know, there's some huge money to be had there. Yeah. So they thought, well, if they know we may shoot them. I think they did shoot a whole different bunch of people getting killed. Yeah.
Did you enjoy the big LA life? You know,
I loved California. I loved California. Do you know? I've got a theory about this, that I find at least, this is just my theory, that a lot of actors will talk about Los Angeles, sort of qualify it by sort of how well they perceived they did while they were there. And you'll find a lot of the time they say what I think is nonsensical things, like, you know, the California, what's the word they always use there? Not shallow. Maybe it is shallow. Yes. But for example, when you go to a supermarket and someone says, "Have a nice day," you know, whether they mean have a nice day or not is immaterial, because I frankly like the sentiment. Yes. And it's, I mean, my perspective is different because I grew up in a foreign country, so I don't bring with me the sort of residue of homesickness, which I completely understand. But I thoroughly loved the Americans, and of course Americans love the English, if one is stupid enough to generalise about these things.
But you're now back on the boards in Black, doing 2 completely disparate things. You're in White Carnation at the moment at Jermyn Street, which is an R.C. Sheriff play. And you're about to go into a Ray Cooney farce at the Menier Chocolate Factory.
Yes.
So presumably you're on stage doing White Carnation during the day at the moment, in the evening at the moment.
Yes.
And you're learning the Ray Cooney farce. I mean, it's 2 things going around in your head.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, look, as long as you don't mind long days, but these are extremely long days, because the fact of the matter is I have to get up very early in the morning, learn my lines, or try to, go to rehearsal day, boot down to the Jermyn Street Theatre, wolf something down to do the show, then come back and learn more lines. So they're, you know, look, those lawyers and banking people, they work 16, 17-hour days, so there's
And they
nothing
don't have
unusual.
nearly so much fun as you do.
Well, you know, that's true.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, the tickets are selling very well at the Meunier. There's still a few more to be had.
It's got a great reputation, the Meunier Chocolate Factory now, hasn't it? It's for doing tremendous plays.
They do. They have a tremendous reputation. A lot of stuff that they do there transfers, and it's run by David Babani and Tom Siracusa, and they are very discerning in their taste. And if you think about it, you know, if you run a theatre, it's, you know, to answer the question, what shall we put on next? And they seem to get that right more
Well, it's
often.
always art and culture versus bums in seats, isn't it, to be crude about it?
Well, look, the producer's job, frankly, is to make money. I mean, there are people who do it for the art's sake. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that necessarily, but those are the theatres that get arts subsidies, which the Meunier Chocolate Factory doesn't have.
Well, Ray Cooney does it for laughs, and farce is peculiarly British. And also, as they always tell you, always depends on timing. So, are you huge in comedy? Do you enjoy doing comedy?
Well, I've only ever done one farce before. And there's a difference between comedy and farce. And I've now really put myself right in it, because you're going to say to me, what is that difference, Michael? And so I think that a comedy is sort of extraordinary people in ordinary situations, whereas a farce is ordinary people in extraordinary situations. So, for example, let's say that, you know, you're having an affair with my wife and she's next door, and I'm about to go next door, because the stakes are tremendously high. Yes. So everything is tense, but in a good way.
And particularly tense because you're working with your other half in there.
I know.
So that'll be quite fun. You play an MP who's a bit of a naughty boy.
Yes, MP, so nothing changes, clearly.
No, quite.
Yeah.
Not based on life at all.
Not at all,
No,
not remotely.
Really.
Yes, and she's rehearsing right now, so she won't be watching this, so I can say with complete candour that it's been an absolute nightmare working with her.
And I can go home and say, my goodness me, he's temperamental. You can see Michael in the White Carnation at the Jermyn Street Theatre in London, and he'll be performing a little bit later in 2 into 1 from March at the Meunier Chocolate Factory in London. My thanks for now, though, to Michael Praed. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Alan.
Michael will be staying with me, because after the break we go into battle. Yes, Alan of Titchmarsh Towers goes up against Michael of Praed Palace in a homemade AC game, Battle of the Bows. Can you resist it? Plus, who's won our studio audience over in today's Ding Dong? Should you spend your children's inheritance? Find out after the break. We'll see you in a little bit. Welcome back. Later I'll be revealing who's victorious in today's Ding Dong. Should you spend your children's inheritance? But first, as we know, Robin Hood's weapon of choice when stealing from the rich to give to the poor was a bow and arrow. So what better game to play with a former Robin Hood than archery? Let's play Battle of the Bows. Right, yes. Right. Now, when you did Robin Hood, were you trained in bow and arrows? Yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. We had a guy, Gabe Cronley, who taught us how to do it. So, Titchmarsh, you're in trouble.
Yeah, we've got here. Look at this.
Yes.
You have to do it right way up. You've got Michael of Praed Palace.
Yeah, but your guys, look, they've done it. This is the right way up.
Is it?
Yeah, because that's the handle, that's the grip bit.
I see. I've got mine the right way up. OK,
oh,
fine.
so, right.
OK, right. Now, we've got to go inside. Oh, yes, hang on a minute, because every good competition needs an expensive prize delivered by a fair maiden. But we couldn't find that, so we've got a bag of chocolate coins and Denise Van Houten. Back in we go. OK, Denise. So we're going to stand on our little marks down here, and you've got all those things there. So the rules are, the aim of the game... What's going on? The aim of the game is to use your bow and arrows to knock over as many cans as you can in a minute. The man with the fewest cans standing at the end wins. OK, Denise?
Can we use as many bows as we want?
Yeah, use as many of these, yeah.
All right. Get ready then, fellas.
Yeah.
When I say, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Ready, steady, shoot!
Go. Rubbish. Oh, heck.
Oh, for
come on. Oh, yes.
Alan, you've got very good aim.
Oh, I'm trying hard. He's had practice. He was taught. Oh,
lower. You need to aim lower.
Lower.
Too high, too high.
Oh,
Lift it.
Oh, he got two now.
Low, 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 low. Yes.
Oh, good here. Oh, we got. Yeah, come on, a bit of sport, audience, please. Oh, audience.
Come
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Here I beat Robin Hood.
Yeah.
My thanks to Michael Praed and Denise Van Houten. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'll share them with you. Now, earlier in our Ding Dong, we asked, should you spend your children's inheritance? Just before we revealed our studio audience thinks, I'm pleased with these, let's see what our viewers at home have had to say. Susan says, yes, it's nice if you leave something, but it's not your duty. Life is for living, live it. And Hugh says, no, I'd get more enjoyment from leaving a bit to my children than spending it all in my later years. So, if you agree with Rebecca that it's your money and you should enjoy it while you're alive, please raise your blue paddle, or if, like Mark Francis, you think you can give your children a better life by giving them an inheritance, vote yellow. Raise your paddles now. Oh, gosh, yes. Susan's the one. Susan's the one. She's spending it all. Okay, see what? Your poor children hold you out there. They're not getting anything. Thanks to all my guests today. I'll be back tomorrow with Albert Square's straight-talking Mo, that's Layla Morse, Olympian turned Strictly champion Lewis Smith, and style queen Mylene Klass. That's all tomorrow. See you tomorrow at 3. Bye-bye.
Well done.